Ei.
Nii, kõik on rahuloleva mõminaga siia tagasi tulnud. Seega vaheaeg läks ilmselt asja ette ja nüüd alustame oma järgmist plokki, kus meil on 2 etteastet. Kõigepealt esimene etteaste toimub puhtas selges maakeeles. Seega, kui te vaatate ekraani peale, siis igal pool toimub eestikeelne show, ei pea otsima ingliskeelset teksti. Ning lavalaudadele on tulnud siis tõka dotsent Aivars Alt, kes on äärmiselt aktiivse ellusuhtumisega inimene, topib oma nina kõikidesse eluvaldkondadesse ja täna on valinud siis esinemise teemaks PIM-i projekteerimise projektijuhi käsiraamat ja kuulame, mis ta siis antud valdkonnas teab ja oskab. Ole tubli, Aivars.
Tänud. Ma siin üritasin välja mõelda sellist väga sellist ilukirjanduslikku algust oma jutul, aga tegelikult Rooda sai väga hästi hakkama. See sama mõte, et ma kipun oma nina igale poole torkima ja häda on see, et ma kipun nende asjade juurde ka kinni jääma siis mõneks ajaks. Nii et ma arvan, et enamusega teist sellest ruumist me oleme vist kohtunud päris mitmel korral enamusega ja tegelikult ka päris erinevates situatsioonides. Aga et siis praegu ja hetkel siis minu põhilised toimetamised on Tallinna Tehnika kõrgkoolis ja hoopis kantis seal siis ehitustehnoloogia ja ehituse organiseerimispoolega ma tegelen. Ma 2 sõnaga tagasi ulatuvalt, et tegelikult oma elus ma olen päris palju pidanud hoopis platsil betoonitöid tegema ja esmapilgul need asjad tegelikult väga hästi ju kokku ei lähe, kui me räägime PIM-ist ja siis võib-olla betoonitöödest. Aga tegelikult lähemal vaatuses selgub, et seal on omajagu ühist ja kõikvõimalikud tehnilised abivahendid ja vigurid, mis me kasutame töö tegemiseks, tegelikult on üsna kohane ja hea võrdlus. Aga et siis täna on plaan selline, et ma räägiksin teile nüüd selle aasta aprillist alates käimas olevast sellisest, meie jaoks hetkel veel arendustööst, et ta on nüüd plaani järgi siis selle aasta lõpuga peaks ühele poole saama. Ja kui te vaatate päevakava, siis esialgu või õigemini minu nime juurde on märgitud lisaks ka veel Riigi Kinnisvara Aktsiaselts, et siis tegelikult koostöös nendega ja tõenäoliselt ikkagi ennekõike nende mahitamisel oleme võtnud siis ette sellise asja nagu PIM projekteerimise projektijuhi käsiraamat. Ja esialgu, kui me selle asjaga liikuma hakkasime, siis meie jaoks me nimetasime kõige lihtsamalt, et olekski vaja juba üsna konkreetset juhendit, seetõttu, et täna meil on juba olemas Eestis hulk materjale, aga kes vähe põhjalikumalt puutub kokku, siis tegelikult võib neid materjale pidada suhteliselt heaks öökapi lugemiseks. Täitsa heas mõttes, tuletan asju meelde ja kui asjast veel midagi ei tea, siis saan kurssi. Mis need on, ma näitan siin mõne slaidi pärast. Ütleme nii, et klassikaliselt lähenesime nii nagu ikka ühele sellisele akadeemilisele kirjatükile, et uurime, vaatame, mis muu maailm teeb ja samamoodi püüame siis tegelikult kogu seda PIM-temaatikat sättida nüüd konkreetselt meie raamistikku nii, et me ei saa rääkida, et me teeme asja iseenesest. Et asja idee on ju lõppude lõpuks selles, et esimeses lähenemises me võiksime mõista kui meie jaoks toetavat tehnoloogiat ja just nimelt, et me ei räägiks asju selles mõttes, et me peame nüüd peamegi tegema nüüd PIM-mudelit ja siis kõige lõpuks peame meie projekti ka ellu viima. Et see tegelikult on nonsense ja ideeliselt ju ei ole see selle asja eesmärk iseenesest. Ja siin selles loendis veel on tegelikult veel rida punkte, milleni me tahtsime jõuda, aga et kuhu me lõpuks nagu välja jõudsime või jõudmas oleme, sellest siis ka kohe edaspidi. Erinevad jutud, mis on siin räägitud ümbruskonnas PIM-ist, igal pool tegelikult, vähemasti mina olen üritanud selliseid definitsioone kasutada, ma loodan, et ei pane pahaks, ma toon need siin veel kord välja, et siis tegelikult me räägime ju 3 asjast ja nüüd kui mõelda, et millele me keskendusime siis selles kirjatükis või mida see peaks ennekõike toetama, siis kui te vaatate selles loendis nüüd kõige viimast, Et küsimus, et mida me hakkame selle informatsiooni hulgaga pihta, mis meil siis kogu projekti jooksul koguneb. Ja ma arvan, et see ei ole nüüd teema, mis on ainuomane ehitusinfo modelleerimisele, sest et sisuliselt, kui me nüüd mõtleme üldse, mida käsitletakse mudelite all, siis see võib olla tegelikult ju süstematiseeritud andmete kogum, mille infot me siis tõesti kasutame ja see kasutame meie töös siis vajaliku tööriistana. Ehk siis tegelikult me ka tavalise ehitusinformatsiooni puhul me räägime sellistest natuke algelisematest, aga ikkagi me räägime ka infomudelitest. Ja siin omavahel ka omases väikses ringis oleme rääkinud, et hästi palju tähelepanu on läinud kogu selle BIM-temaatika juures värvilistele, ilusatele ilupiltidele, eks, mis tihtipeale ei pruugi endas mitte mingisugust sisulist infoväärtust kanda. Nii et veel kord, et minu ja selle töö mõte on tegelikult hoopis selle infohalduse poole toetamine, et me saaksime selle info, mis on projekti pandud, milline see projektlahendus on, et me saaksime selle võimalikult hästi kätte. Ja loomulikult kogu see esimene plokk, et tegevus, kus me seda infot kogume, loome ja siis lõppude lõpuks jõuame ka siis nimetatud hoone digitaalse prototüübini. Nii et hoiaks siis rõhku just nimelt sellel infohalduse poolel ja me omavahel ka selles töö kontekstis oleme alati rääkinud siis ennekõike protsessist, ehitusinformatsiooni modelleerimisest. Et tundub ka, et see BIM on selline tont, mis mööda ka meie maad ringi liigub, kõik sellest räägivad, mõned on ka näinud, aga mis see tegelikult on, ega vist hästi ei teata. Hästi põgus ülevaade sellest, et mis siis on täna need materjalid, mis meie tööd ja tegemisi võiksid siis toetada. Tegelikult juba aastal 2010 kevadel oli päris suur pahameeletorm, sest et ilmus esimene KOBIM juhend, mille siis, KOBIM-i originaali autorid on tegelikult soomlased, kes on siis loonud Common BIM Requirements juhendid ja siis pealt seda kohe tegelikult meie siis siinpool, õigemini Riigi Kinnisvara too hetk initsieeris siis selle juhendi kohandamise Eesti versiooniks. Küll esialgsest originaalist 13 köitest sai siis üks selline suhteliselt tiheda tekstiga iseenesest asjalik kirjatükk, aga ütlen nii, et algajale võib-olla natuke raske lugeda. Ehk siis, et kui meil iga lause jupp kannab tegelikult suurt ja sügavat mõtet kaasas, siis kogu sellise tihendatud tekstis on asju üsna keeruline välja lugeda. See omakorda viis meid siis selleni, et aastal 2013, kui siis ilmus soomlastel KOBIMist järgmine versioon, et siis otsustasime, et me võtame selle suhteliselt muutmatul kujul üle, sest kasutatud tekst oli suhteliselt universaalne, üksikud viited tegelikult ainult Soome seadusandlusele, nii et siis täna me saame rääkida sellest, et Common BIM Requirement siis aastast 2012, 2013 iseenesest ta ei sai valmis, aga täna on siis tal ametlikult selline staatus, et ta on tegelikult Eesti standardikeskuse juhendmaterjal. See ei ole standard, see on siis standardikeskuse juhendmaterjal ja lõppkokkuvõttes tegelikult meie huvi ikkagi see ennekõike, et see info leviks ja oleks kättesaadav. Ja tegelikult on siis tänaseks neid juhendeid seal kokku 14. Ja miks neid osasid nii palju on? Põhjus lihtne, et tegelikult erinevatele projekti osalistele on ette nähtud oma osa. Seal on üldosad, mis siis kehtivad kõikide kohta, aga et siis kas siis konstruktsiooni osade projekteerija või siis eriosade projekteerija, tegelikult neil kõigil on omad osad tehtud. Et eesmärk just see, et seda juhendmaterjali ei oleks nagu hullumeelselt palju, sest et kokku tegelikult see 14 osa on seal suurusjärk 400 lehekülge, eks, aga iga osa eraldi on selline kuskil 20–30 lehekülge. Loomulikult me saame rääkida sellest, et tänased ettevõtted, kes toimetavad valdkonnas juba ja katsetavad BIM juurutamist, tegelikult olen mina oma silmaga näinud päris hulga ettevõtte siseseid juhendmaterjale, mis on loodud siis ütleme põhimõtteliselt kogemuse põhjalt, mis on seni tehtud ja loomulikult selle pealt, mis on muu maailm teinud. Ja nüüd sellel sügisel tegelikult on siis ettevalmistuse faasi jõudnud konkreetselt üks standard ISO 29481 osa 1, mis siis tegelikult käsitleb ehitusinfo siis jagamise, kasutamise poolt, eks. See ei ole nüüd tehniliselt mudeli koostamine. Et siis see käsitleb seda, kuidas siis see protsess peaks olema üles ehitatud. Ja osasid on seal oluliselt rohkem sellel standardil, aga osa 1 just seepärast, et see on tegelikult jällegi suhteliselt üldine, aga ta annab protsessile head üldised raamid. Ja siis teise siis otsetõlke meetodil ülevõetava standardina on siin ka uue aasta sees plaanis võtta töösse ISO siis ta peaks olema technical specification, ehk siis ongi tehniline juhend, siis 12911, mis tegelikult siis käsitleb konkreetselt BIM-projekteerimist. Et see on see seis, kus me praegu oleme, nii et siis tegelikult me räägime laiale massile kättesaadavatest juhenditest siis põhimõtteliselt kahest asjast, et Riigi Kinnisvara Aktsiaselts täna omades töödes tegemistes ja siis need BIM-i nõuded defineerides tegelikult ennekõike põhineb nüüd sellel esialgsel versioonil, mis on siis vastu võetud ja mis on suhteliselt selline kompaktne. Nüüd kui küsida, et milles meil siis nüüd Eestis võiks puudust olla ja mis siis on nagu halvasti. Võib-olla ma esitasin küsimuse halvasti, aga tegelikult juba mu eelnev jutt ka tegelikult tüüris sinna suunda, et meil tegelikult on neist protsessile suunatud juhendmaterjalist puudu, et mida siis tehakse, kes mis ajal teeb, kui palju teeb ja nii edasi ja nii edasi. Nädal tagasi oli Leedus selline regionaalne konverents, kus siis Lääne-Veremaa riigid said kokku ja mulle meeldis väga ühe leeduka ütlus, et tegelikult me võiksime ju BIM-i võrrelda ühe hea autoga, mille ma tegelikult saan poest osta, keegi mult juhilube ei osta. Juhilube mult ju keegi ei küsi. Ostan auto, toon ta maja ette, aga tegelikult ma ei oska sõita, ma ei tunne liikluse eeskirju ja mis ma siis selle autoga pihta hakkan, eks. Ehk siis mina ütleks, et võib-olla see võrdlus on ka päris hea. Et just nimelt, et tegelikult komponendid üksikuna tervikut kokku ei anna. Et mul lõpuks ongi vaja kõike. Et alates juhiloast, kuni lõpetades siis ka vahendiga, millega sõita. Ja julgen nagu öelda seda ka, et tegelikult selline sisuline tagasiside projekteerija tööle, et mis ta siis tegi nüüd hästi või halvasti, see kipub olema kesine. Ja võib-olla selle BIM-i mõttes, ma küll kordan oma kunagist mõtet, aga ütlen veel kord, et ma arvan, et me hetkel oleme sellisel teel, kus me räägime evolutsioonist. Et me areneme, mis on iseenesest väga hea, kogume tarkust ja teeme kogu aeg paremini. Aga täna ma julgen öelda, et me pole jõudnud protsessi lõpus korralikult ära käia. Ehk see, et meil on tegelikult arendatud projekt sinnamaani valmis, et me ütleme, et nüüd on siis ehitis tehtud, anname üle ja siis saame heakskiidu. Et reaalselt selliseid kogemusi meil täna ikkagi ei ole, kus on seal protsessi lõpus ära käidud ja nüüd me tegelikult ju nõuded andmetele tekivad niimoodi, et me saame anda tagasisidet siis, kui me teame ka, millest me täpselt räägime. Et niisuguse poole protsessi pealt operatiivne tagasiside andmine on loomulikult vajalik, aga see, mis on sisuline oluline info, sinnani me tegelikult veel täna ka hästi ju jõudnud ei ole. Nii et ma julgen väita, et selline protsessi pool võiks olla see märksõna, mida me siis ennekõike jahime. Ärge palun püüdke nüüd seda udukirja lugeda, lihtsalt jälgige seda ajatelge, pagan see on üsna vilets, mis mul siit on välja kukkunud, aga kui siin on aasta 2006, siin oleme me siis meie 2014 ja siin joonel asub aasta 2011. Ja siin on iseenesest kujutatud siis erinevate juhendmaterjalide loomine muus ilmas. Ja nüüd see värvikodeering tähendab siin seda, et see punakas või roosa ja kollane on siis kolmandate osapoolte või siis erialaliitude poolt loodud juhendmaterjal ja nüüd roheline ja siis need sinisemad toonid on kõik loodud tegelikult tellija poolt. Ja kui nüüd vaadata seda asja, mis siis on lahti läinud aastast 2011, siis tegelikult te näete, et see ajateljel toimuv on tegelikult tõsine sagimine, tormiks nimetada oleks seda tegelikult päris mõistlik. Mis tähendab seda, et muus ilmas ka väga tõsine siputamine käib selles valdkonnas, et saada tegelikult korralikult reeglid paika. Et nüüd me siis nimetame seda siis niimoodi, et liikluseeskirjade loomise faasis, auto ja liikluseeskirja näidet kasutades. Nüüd selles meie töös, mida me siis nagu alusena kasutasime, et tegelikult kuni selle ajani, kui me konkreetselt võtsime need juhendmaterjalid ette, oli kõiksuguseid jutte, et tegelikult on norralastel väga hea juhend, tegelikult on ameeriklastel väga hea juhend ja nii edasi ja nii edasi. Nüüd, kui need juhendmaterjalid on üle vaadatud, siis ma võin öelda, et nüüd meie võtsime oma valikusse lõpuks ikkagi 8, sest et varem või hiljem te märkate seal väga sarnaseid mustreid ja lugu on siis see, et kes tegelikult on ennem kõige kobedama asja valmis teinud, heas mõttes, siis see on ka nagu aluseks, nii et suhteliselt palju tänane maailm käib siis Ameerika Veteran Affairs BIM Guide'i pealt ja samamoodi siis ka Ameerika Penn State'i loodud BIM Project Execution Planning Guide'i pealt. Need kirjatükid, mida siin tahvlil näete, kõik on tegelikult vabalt veebist saadaval. Ja siis meie töös tegelikult võtsime kokku ka ikkagi riigi kinnisvara tegemised, võtsime koobimid, soomlaste eriala, soomlaste tellijate esindajate liit on ka pannud alles hiljaaegu kokku juhendmaterjali, samuti norralased ja ka Singapur. Nii et sellistest asjadest oleme kokku pannud ühe sellise kontsentraadi. Esialgu oli muidugi mure nagu suur, et mis siit nagu välja tuleb, et me oleme nii erinevad kultuuriruumid ja me ei saa need protsesse sedavõrd hästi nagu kohandada, aga see tegelikult ei ole päris õige, sest et sisuliselt, kui me lõpuks jõuame isegi nagu siis sisuliste tööetappideni või ma räägime praegu siis projekteerimisest, siis me saame isegi üsna head paralleelid tõmmata tegelikult ka muu maailma projekteerimise etappidega. See, kui palju ühes etapis tehakse tööd, natuke teine jutt, ma olen sellega päri. Ja siis selles töös me tegelikult ühe alusmaterjalina kasutasime ka Eesti Äritarkvarade Liidu uuringut, mida iga aastalt tehakse, seal pööratakse alati ka tähelepanu sellele, et mis siis BIM vallas tehakse. Üks pool on siin kindlasti see, et ütleme, kui on võrdluses erinevad aastad, siis suhteliselt suur tõdemus on see, et meil reeglid puuduvad, et siis kõige vasakpoolsem slaid. Samas on hästi üksikud positiivsed trendid ka, et me räägime väga väikestest osakaaludest, aga et siis reaalselt see teadlikkuse kasv isegi 2 aasta võrdluses tegelikult me edeneme kogu aeg vaikselt edasi ja selles mõttes, et sellist, ütleme nii, et näha on, et ka nendest uuringu tulemustest, et tegelikult see sisuline teadlikkus hakkab tekkima ja loomulikult see viib järgmise sellise huvitava paradoksini, et mida aasta edasi me läheme, siis seda vähem me julgeme väita, et ma kasutan BIM-protsessi ja ma tean sellest küll. Et see on tegelikult, ma arvan, targa inimese tunnus, kes tegelikult asjaga tegeledes jõuab sinnamaani, et on asju veel, mis ei ole päris klaarid. Nii et see oli sellise lihtsalt meie jaoks toetava materjalina, et mis asja me üleüldse ajame. Ja Äritarkvara Liidus iseenesest selles uuringus osaleb suhteliselt palju ettevõtted, kes räägivad siis oma tarkvara harjumustest, et ettevõtted kokku 700 ja siis seda ehitusinfo modelleerimise poolt tegelikult siis seda tõi välja enda juurest siis suurusjärk 100. Aga et algul oli jutt, et ma räägin teile BIM-projekteerija käsiraamatust ja kuhu me siis nende kirjatükkide sees tiirutamisel välja jõudsime. Et tegelikult me räägime siis maailma mõistes sellisest ingliskeelsest terminist nagu BIM Execution Plan, ehk siis BIM-i rakendamise kava, et esialgne mõte sellest, et loome niisuguse hunniku kontrollvorme, aruandevorme, et selleni jõudsime tegelikult üsna pea, et selline kuhila meid ei päästa. Et küsimus on ikkagi see, et mis on see raamistik, mille sees me toimetame ja siis sellega loomulikult seostatuna erinevad kontrollvormid, tabeliskeemid, et mida siis oleks vaja teha. Nii et täna me räägime siis sisuliselt BIM rakenduskavast ja nüüd selle töö raames me oleme siis loonud tegelikult sellise suhteliselt mahuka seletuskirja, et kellel on asja vastu suurem huvi, saab vaadata ja uurida, et mismoodi siis rakenduskava koostamine käib. Oleme loonud ka sellise siis ingliskeelse niinimetatud template faili või siis alusfaili, et kus te siis võtate selle asja ette ja saate hakata lihtsalt järge ajama. Tegelikult ta meenutab ikkagi sellist projekti kavandamist suhteliselt, et kellele ma teen, mida ma teen, kes kasutab, osapooled ja nii edasi. Ma sihilikult neid kirjatükke hetkel siia välja ei toonud, aga et lõpupoole ma toon välja ka mõned üleskutsed, et siis vast saavad huvilised oma uudishimu rahuldatud. Ja sisulise poole pealt me räägime siis sellest, et me oleme siis loonud rakenduskava niinimetatud esimesele tasemele, mis siis muu ilma kontekstis tähendab seda, et me räägime projekti rakenduskavast. Et see ei ole hetkel ühe konkreetse ettevõtte üksiku rakenduskava, aga hea tagasiside on see, et nüüd ettevõtted, kelle juures ma olen käinud seda ideed näitamas, siis tegelikult majasiseselt on neil asjadel erinevad nimetused, kes nimetab seda kvaliteediplaaniks, aga sisuliselt jõutakse sarnasesse kohta, ehk siis et rakenduskavasse, et millega panustatakse ja kuni väga detailsete asjadeni välja, et mis on tarkvaraversioonid ja muu selline. Siis selle rakenduskava ühe lisana tänase erkase praktikast siis modelleerimise ulatuse tabel tuleb täiustatuna sisse, kus siis on sisse toodud töömudeli staadium ja samamoodi ka detailsustaseme staadium. meie soov on seekord siis tegelikult sellesse juhendmaterjali seda kasutada kui ka mudeli kaaskirja dokument, ehk siis, et tegelikult projekti käigus on see elav dokument, millest tekivad versioonid. Nimetame seda, ta on nagu kombinatsioon projekti seletuskirjast, mis muutub ajas ja tekivad alati uued versioonid. Ehk siis, et uued liitlased, uued osalised saavad alati siis nagu seisust sotti, et kus nad on tulnud ja millega tegeletakse. Ja lisaks siis selle töö käigus oleme teinud valmis ka sellised vastuolude kontrolli tarkvarade lühijuhendid. Et ühtegi tarkvara me siin tegelikult eelistada ei taha, küll ta siin alfabeedis ei ole see loend, aga tegelikult siis julgeks välja tuua tänased 4 levinumat siin piirkonnas, võib-olla Bentley navigaator mitte nii väga, aga sisuliselt nad teevad sarnaseid asju, et idee on just nimelt selles, et siis projekteerimise projektijuht või inimene, kes koordineerib protsessi, saaks kasutada tegelikult konkreetse siis töövahendi ja et olla ka selle juures nagu abiks. Et see oli meil ka siis üks eesmärkidest. Selle rakenduskava üks osadest on tegelikult protsessiskeem. Ka asi, mida tegelikult tehakse täna erinevatel kujudel projektides. Ilmselt teile paljudele meenutab see kangesti kunagi koolis õpetatud võrkgraafikut, see põhimõte tegelikult on analoogne, aga et selle protsessiskeemiga tegelikult on kõige olulisem näidata seda, et see, kes seda projekti veab, tal on endal selge arusaam, et kelle mis hetkel ta kaasab, millised on need vormid, kuidas ma informatsiooni vahetan, ehk siis see on protsessi pool siin üleval ja allpool on tegelikult kirjeldatud ära ka väljundid. Nii et üks mõte, et siis selline protsessikaardi tegemine ka, lisaks siis sellisele tavapärasele siis ajagraafikule ja kindlasti seda ei saa võtta kui ajagraafikut tegelikult, et see pigem näitab siis protsessi osaliste omavahelist seost protsessis üldse. Ja siis tööst endast, et on sellel osasid päris mitu, on üldosa ja et töö oleks lihtsamini kasutatav ja tarbitav, me oleme siis erinevad materjalid pannud lisadesse. Et lisa 1 on siis nagu rakenduskava alusfail, mul on siin väike täheviga, lisa 2 on siis protsessiskeemide loomise juhis, et kuidas see võiks nagu käia, aga seal kindlasti on tegelikult asjaosalistel ka endil kindlasti üsna palju tegelikult sellist juba sisuteadmist, et kuidas need asjad käivad. Aga ikkagi. Siis üks lisadest on modelleerimise ulatuse tabel, mis siis põhimõtteliselt me paneme kirja, et kes mis hetkel ja kui palju teeb. Sisuliselt see on siis see kokkuvõte. Ja samamoodi on üks lisades siis vastuolude programmide juhendid ning ka päris alguses, kui me tööle hakkasime, saime sellise tagasiside, et tegelikult tänased Riigi Kinnisvara Aktsiaseltsi poolt paika pandud või õigemini siis üle võetud energiasimulatsiooni tarkvarade nõuded, mingil põhjusel neid ei täideta. Et mis siis olla võiks ja tegelikult me siis ühes töö osas oleme ka seda poolt vaadanud, et kellel huvi saab sellega kindlasti tutvuda. Ja nüüd siis küsimus, et kuidas võiks kogu selle asjandusega edasi liikuda. Nii nagu ütlesin, meie enda poolt oleme seda kirjatükki lõpetamas. Ma kasutaksin siin ära juhust, et kes on nagu asjast huvitatud, ma hea meelega koguksin mõistlikult palju tagasisidet selle kohta, et kes on huvitatud, saavad minuga võtta ühendust ja hea meelega annan oma töös olevaid versioone tutvumiseks. Kindlasti, kui teist on juba keegi nii tahtmist täis, et tahaks realiseerida esimesi piloote, mina arvan, et aeg on selleks igatahes küps, sest et lõppude lõpuks me ei tee mitte midagi uut, veel kord, et me teeme sisuprotsessi ja tõenäoliselt me püüame teha asju paremini. Ega me siin muuga eriti nagu pistmist ei ole. Siis ma panin siia NB-ga sellise ingliskeelsed terminid level of detail ja level of development, mis tegelikult on siis igipõline küsimus, võiks juba öelda mudelprojekteerimises, et kui ilusti ma pean need asjad joonistama, kui detailselt ma pean joonistama, aga tegelikult on veel olulisem küsimus, et mis sisuinfot see mudel kaasas kannab. Nii et ma loodan, et siin uuel aastal tegelikult järgmiste tegemistena ootabki meid ees selliste esmaste asjade lahti kirjutamine. Et käimegi kas või mööda neid modelleerimise ulatuse tabeleid ja püüame lahti kirjutada selle minimaalse vajaliku mahu. Et oleks nagu selge pilt, sest muidu juhtub nii, et algul pole justkui mitte midagi vaja, pärast on kõike vaja ja lõpuks tuleb välja, et aga see kõik on suhteliselt infotühi. Et ma olen hästi demagoogiline oma jutus, aga nii ta kipub olema. Nii et siis see on vast üks järgnevaid tegevusi. Meie enda jaoks kindlasti liiguks edasi tegelikult nüüd ehituse faasi, mis sisuliselt on tegelikult selle rakenduskava laienduse tegemine ehituseks, ehk siis, et vaatame üle see, millist infot täna tarbitakse, mis kujul seda tarbitakse, kuidas seda infot edasi antakse, et samamoodi selliste järgnevad tegevused peaksid olema seotud sellega. Peale lõunat siin minu kolleeg räägib teile ehitusinfo klassifikaatoritest, nende arendustest, siin tegelikult King natukene meil ka pigistab, aga kus ta siis täpsemalt pigistab, peale lõunat kolleeg Pille Hamburg räägib. Ja eelmise nädalal juba korra mainitud Leedu regionaalsest Läänemere riikide sellised PIM kohtumiselt mina võtsin kaasa ühe sellise päris hea mõtte. Et tundub siiamaani, et kes seda PIM-i peaks nagu eest ajama või tagant torkima. Et meil on täna olnud enne kõike see siis tegelikult suur avalik tellija riigi kinnisvara aktsiaselts, aga mulle väga meeldis tegelikult Leedu lähenemine, kus oli suudetud peaaegu kõik erialaorganisatsioonid kokku ajada ja erialaorganisatsioonide ühine huvi oli lihtsalt see, et kuidas me saame tarbida digitaalset infot, mida me siis iga päev nii ehk naa keerutame ja kuidas seda efektiivselt teha. Ja sellise kooslusega tõenäoliselt sõna jõud on oluliselt tugevam ka siis erinevate instantsidega suheldes. See on selline visiooninägemus, näikse, mis siit tulemas on ja kas tulemas on. Nimetasin seda kaldkirjas ka digitaalehituse töörühmaks, aga miski taoline tõenäoliselt võiks olla selline vedav mootor, kus erialaliidud on esialgu asjades kokku leppinud, mitte ei vea omavahel vägikaigast ja tegelikult saavad lihtsalt siis seda toetavat poolt loogiliselt edasi arendada. Nüüd ma olen peaaegu oma ajaga otsa lõppenud. Mina tänan töörühma, kes aitasid seda tööd mul teha, mul kolleegid Egert, Genet, Ergo, Siim ja Ülari. Ja see on tänamise koht ja küsimused, kui teil neid on.
Jah, Aivarsega on alati niimoodi, et juttu jätkub kauemakski, sellepärast, et algus suure suuga lubasid, et 20 minutiga teed ära ja saab 10 minutit küsimusi, aga nüüd ei ole neid küsimuse minuteid ikka, aga on siin keegi, kes Aivarsi käest tahab midagi küsida. Näed, jälle üks hull seal üleval jookseb.
Paranda mind, kui ma eksin, aga kui ma sellest nagu kogu sellest kontseptsioonist olen õigesti aru saanud, siis tegelikult nagu üksikuna neid protsesse nagu vaadata ei saa, ehk siis, et täna te tegelete selle projekteerimise osaga, ütlete, et väga tore oleks, kui keegi hakkaks rannima mingisuguseid piloote ja tegema neid piloote just nagu projekteerimise osas, aga kui ma siin eelmisest ettekandest kuulasin, siis tegelikult nagu kogu selle asja olemus on see, et tegelikult ehitaja annaks oma sisendi juba sellesse algusesse sisse, et ei tekiks täpselt seda, et arhitekt või projekteerija on mingisuguse asja nagu kunsti kokku teinud ja lõppkokkuvõttes ehitaja seda sellisel kujul ehitada ei saa ja lõppkokkuvõttes see funktsionaalsus kaob nagu vahelt ära. Minu küsimus on see, et kas üldse on nagu mõistlik neid nagu osade kaupa kuskile lekitada või ülesse panna või hakata nagu testima, kui tegelikult selle osade kaupa testimine tegelikku tulemust ei anna?
Saan mõttest väga hästi aru, et täpselt see selle asja eesmärk on. Eri ma arvan, et sa olid ka tegelikult mõni nädal tagasi ühel ühikhindade seminaril. Okei, teie juures keegi oli. Et jah, ma olen sellega 100% nõus, et nii on. Ja lahendused, mis nagu sünnivad, et mis kvaliteediga nad ehituse jaoks on. Et tegelikult tuleb välja see asi, et ütleme, me ei saa siin täna, eks ole, kõiki meie probleeme lahendada, aga üks asi on see, et kui targalt me oleme üldse lähteülesande püsti pannud, mida me teeme. Kas see projekteeritav hoone mahub üleüldse ka sisuliselt selle eelarve sisse, mida me plaanime ehitada ja kas me siis lõpuks saame nüüd ehitajad süüdistada kõigest selles, et see maja nii kallis välja tahab kukkuda, eks. Ehk siis, et see oli meil pühendatud sellele, et märksõna Ari Pennanen, kes on asjast huvitatud ja tegelikult ka siin eelkõneja rääkis ka sellest workplace planningust. Mis ma nüüd ütlen selle meie idee toetamiseks? Tegelikult on lugu nii, et suhteliselt paljud asjad on nagu protsessis ja asjad käivad. Ma mõtlen täna projekteerimist ja tegelikult, kui ma jõuan tagasi selle tagasiside ja sisulise tehniliste nõuete juurde, mida me tahame projektis saada, ma julgen öelda, et me seal ka poole peal me komistame väga naljakates kohtades. See võib olla tegelikult see, et me hakkame hirmsa hooga alguses minema ja siis tuleb 2 kuu pärast välja, et tegelikult projekti partnerid kasutavad ebasobivaid näiteks programmide versioone. See on hästi lihtne näide, aga hästi levinud näide, mille tulemusena võime väga palju asju ära lörtsida. Et ma olen sellega nõus, et midagi lekitama hakata on tegelikult nagu vale, selles mõttes päri, aga sisuliselt on see dokument niimoodi, et me kirjeldame ära, et mida me selles faasis teeme, et oleksime nagu enda vastu nagu lõpuni aus, mitte ei tormaks põhimõtteliselt minema, sirge lõppu veel ei paista, aga ma olen nii tugev, et küllap ma jõuan kuhugi. Et pigem on meie soov see, et vähemalt seal projekteerimises see tehniline töö saaks nagu hästi tehtud. Et see on nagu esimene lähenemine.
Ja võib-olla ma lõpetuseks Aivarsi käest ikkagi ei saa jätta küsimata, aga vasta nüüd kas sa tunned ennast Don Quixotina, kes läheb õigluse eest võitlema tuuleveskitega?
Aus vastus on, et pool ajast. Et see ongi selles mõttes vähemalt positiivne.
No nii, aga täname Aivarsit ka ja anna see riistamal peast ära. And now we continue with our guest from USA again, Romano. Actually, he gave just the background information slightly that his roots come from Italy, so the man is likes, I understand, pasta and pizza and tomatoes. But today's presentation is not going to be about pizza, but rather about lean and IPD, and of course about big room. Just please come over and install your micro here. And as I understand the presentation, his presentation came rather on the very last moment, so please do not try to look for Estonian version. You will see the poor English version everywhere.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. We could talk about pizza if you'd like. Would that be better? This is where I live right now. I'm about to move to Texas. It feels like being banished above the Arctic Circle, but in the other direction. So I thought I would at least start with a beautiful image of my city. I want to talk today about the experience of being in a big room and of being in an integrated project delivery project process, but from the perspective of a designer. And today, I want to talk about first a shared understanding of what lean IPD is, and in this case, an integrated project delivery team that is bound together by a relational contract and dedicated to using lean principles to accomplish the work. So perhaps that can be our working definition, at least for the next 45 minutes here. And with that is also a shared definition of what design would mean today. I'm not a fancy architect. I'm very simple in my approach to both architecture and to design. And so when I say design, I don't mean the cover of a magazine. I mean activities performed by architects, engineers, and construction detailers as they describe a building for construction. One of the first things that will strike someone when they join an integrated project or when they work in a big room for the first time is how alien the environment can be. And what we find most often is that this only goes away when people stop thinking about the company that they work for and embrace this new organization that has been assembled for the purpose of designing and constructing a building. So the way to get around that is to think about the big room and to think about the integrated project as its own organization. And in the way that you would set up your own organization, you have to think about how we will work together, how people will treat each other. How do you behave? Some offices are boisterous and rowdy. Other offices are like sitting in a library. And those people all come together at the same time and are expected to produce something under tremendous pressure and to perform successfully. So it asks for a lot. So this can be very challenging, very much so. And it really is, as I noted here, it's easy to overlook things like coffee. You have something that you take for granted, a refrigerator with drinks and snacks, and then you go to work in this new environment and it isn't there for you. And that's part of your routine. That's how you get your work done effectively. So it's very important to have that consideration be made and to talk about things that if you went to a regular project, a typical project, you would never discuss. It's also important to reserve time for social activities, birthday celebrations, things that celebrate the human side of the people that you've assembled together. Because ultimately, the great resource of bringing people together is the mind, the intellect, the talents, and the ability of the people of that team. And to leverage that, you have to provide for them an environment in which they can flourish and thrive. So as an example, there's a tradition in the United States with an organization called Scouting, Cub Scouts, of building pinewood derby cars that are little blocks of pine wood that you shape into a car, and then you race them. And one of the architects thought it would be a fun idea for our team to participate in a pinewood derby race. And so we made a big event, and we brought in dinner for the team, and we raced the cars, and we listened to music. We had a band that came in and played for us. And it's that type of activity that causes people to build social relationships that then translate into work relationships to help them work together more effectively. Pause for a little water here. Underpinning all activity is technology within a big room, especially with the idea of being able to share files and to work on others' models, BIM models. If this isn't given its proper consideration, it will cause nothing but trouble. It's difficult enough when it works properly, so that when it does work improperly, the entire team can grind to a halt. So some of the key aspects to preserve would be a central location. Michael mentioned using the box site, which is basically storing files in the cloud, and then people pull down information as they need it. When you're in a BIM-rich environment where everyone is modeling and everyone relies on the information of others for coordination and for locating their materials within the model, it's key that people know where to go for the most current version of the work of others. So what we find here is that it's important to develop that central location and then to have a rigorous schedule of posting information to that centralized location. The worst thing is for someone to work for days or even weeks in their own little silo, hiding their work from others, and then to post it all in one big glorious mistake. Because at that point, others will have worked on separately, and now everyone has to engage in rework, having to fix the work that they've already done to match the work of someone who didn't share their work on a regular basis. Within this are a number of challenges having to do with security, with the way that people use software, the way that people tend to work within their own organization versus the new organization of the integrated team. And with that comes the difficult challenge of integrating all of these IT infrastructures so that the work can even commence. The two graphics that I show here are two iterations of the IT relationship that we developed for a project of mine in San Francisco. On the top was the first proposal, which, though you can't read it, you can visually understand that it's very complicated. And a lot of arrows and a lot of moving around of flow of parts. And below is the solution that we ultimately came to, where we had one central server that everyone could access. All the shared files lived there, and people could move information around quite easily without threatening their own individual infrastructure setup. One other thing I would note too is that the person who is probably the most important to the success of the team is the on-site technical support, not only for the infrastructure of equipment, the network, the printers, etc., but also the person or persons who manage the interface of the building models. Those folks are on demand at every minute of time that is spent together. And that money is well spent. It's also quite important to have rules for how models will be pulled together, whether people will simply import a copy or whether they will live link, what manner in which they intend to work should then inform the policy that is used for the team as a whole. And it is also important that there be a reliable schedule, usually weekly, sometimes twice per week, of posting new work so that others can benefit by that. Communication is also very critical within the big room and an integrated project setting. You heard Michael say earlier that it was very important to have people be able to talk one-on-one. And while I completely endorse that, I would also add that it is very important to have a very strict plan of communication for the team as a whole. An integrated project team can have more than 100 participants, and not all of them may sit together in the big room. You could have maybe 30 or 40 people that are together every day, and then those remaining 60 or 70 would come in at various points to meetings when their presence is required. And it's also difficult to know when someone will be needed, because the definition of need is based on the value of the stakeholder in that process. So if I'm having a meeting to discuss a plaza outside of a building, it's easy for me to know that I want my civil engineer and my landscape architect, and that I also would like to have the owner present and the building manager present. What I might not think of easily is that because I have a large glass facade and a large indoor area, that I might also want to include my interior designer so that the inside and the outside can have a seamless connection. And in the integrated project, it can be difficult to remember all of the people that you want to have as stakeholders in a meeting if they're not sitting in that particular room on that particular day. So because of that, we work to be very deliberate about preparing agendas for meetings and broadcasting those to the entire team so that everyone has an opportunity to read through the agenda and say, okay, I see that that is being discussed. That's important to me. I need to show up on that day. And we empower everyone on the team to be able to do that. If you're not invited to a meeting, but you think that meeting matters, and you have something to contribute to that meeting, then you should come. And people are willing to do that. That also goes with the work process after the meetings themselves. Through that, we want to work to develop a careful set of commitments that were made during the meeting. Who is going to do what, for whom, when will they do it, what will they produce, and when will they produce it. And along with that, a solid set of minutes that describe the proceedings of the meeting. With that, others outside of the immediate group, again, have the opportunity to read and understand what has gone on, and then to contribute at will should they need to do so. It was a challenge for us on my current project in San Francisco to do this in a consistent manner. It's very easy when we're all sitting together to forget that there's a world outside of the walls of the big room. And with that, we kept missing communication. In this case with our landscape architect, for instance, because he didn't sit with us in the room. He had a very small scope on the project, and we kept missing him. We kept forgetting to notify him. We kept forgetting to get him minutes, or worse yet, we didn't take minutes because we assumed that everyone was already sitting in the room. And that put us in a position where he fell behind on some things, not through his own fault, but because we didn't provide him with the information he needed to be successful. With that comes a need to document decisions. This is an example of an A3, which is a document, or more accurately, a document format that was developed at Toyota. The name A3 is the size of the paper, and it's an A3 because an A3 is the biggest that will fit through a fax machine. So that's why it's an A3. With this is called a 5-box A3, which simply means that there are 5 standard steps of baseline analysis, advantages, proposal, and action plan. There are 7-box A3s. There are 13-box A3s. The point is not the number of boxes. It is a rational, standardized method of describing an issue, proposing action for it, and then describing the next steps that will be taken. So this has been a tool that's very important from a client perspective, not just for the current project itself, but for future projects. It's a way from a program management perspective of taking information, hard-won information on a project and being able to carry it forward on subsequent projects. So this is a tool I would greatly endorse. Come on, little clicker. Do we have another clicker, Ergo? Or which slide would I hit to advance? There we go. Excellent, thank you. The value of on-site technical support. Another very important aspect of the big room and of the IPD team is the planning of work. If you think about the IPD process from the perspective of cost, you could spend thousands of dollars an hour in terms of the salaries of the people who are sitting there, And if they aren't being effective, or if they're not working in a direction that adds value to the project, it's like watching water or ice melt into water. Because the cost of all those people being together is very high. And so with that comes an obligation for that team to plan their work and then to execute it in an effective manner. Personally, from now 10 years of experience, I've seen many tools for planning work, and I've seen many processes, but the one that I come back to that I believe the most in is a manual method using the sticky notes that Michael described earlier. The reason I believe this to be the superior method is because each person is able to contribute physically within the exercise. Each person has their own color and their own sticky notes and their own pen, and they can write their activities, and they can walk up to the board and place their sticky and negotiate with everyone else who's there directly and talk to them and really understand what they need to give to others to complete their work, and to be very clear in saying what they need from others to complete their own work. At that point, I think it's perfectly acceptable to take that manual process embodied in the sticky notes and to translate it into a tool, a technical tool, that links those activities through logic with predecessors and successors. But to me, the key piece, first off, is to have that planning session in person where everyone can interact one-on-one and really work through what is needed to accomplish the work at hand. The thing, too, that I struggle with probably the most when it comes to work planning within my own firm and with the teams that I work with is to take the idea of a plan and to help people to see it as an action. Something that you do not once, not twice, but many times, over and over and over and over again until the project is complete. People want to work hard and produce a plan and then leave the plan as it is and work. And what they fail to understand is that plan is not acceptable. Planning is acceptable. You have to refresh the plan every day because every minute that goes by introduces new information that changes the plan. So the plan must evolve and the plan must adapt, and the plan on one day will be different from the day before. And people also tend to think of planning as a separate activity from working. They want to go back to their desk and get into their computer and design something or model something or detail something. And while there is always a time for that, I struggle to teach people that planning is their work. There's a saying that if someone was given 6 minutes to cut down a tree with an axe, they would spend the first 2 minutes sharpening the axe. How many of us would just start swinging as hard as we could to cut that tree? But it's more important to have the sharp axe and be ready to go, and then to implement the plan and rapidly and effectively execute it. So to accomplish that on a longer cycle project, we need to have a planning cycle that allows you to come together as a team and to refresh the plan. And with that comes a need to also measure and to monitor the performance of the team. Michael mentioned using Last Planner. It was developed by Dr. Ballard and Greg Howell and Lori Koskela. The idea with Last Planner is that you measure how reliable you are in your commitments. And you measure how effective you are at planning work and then actually doing the plan. And so a tool like that, a method like that, is key to implement because it keeps the team refreshing the plan and it gives you something as a baseline to measure against. And with Last Planner, it also happens to be very effective because it ties the daily work all the way up to the key milestone deliverables. So that you aren't just working from week to week, but you always have that end objective in mind, whether it's submitting documents or closing in the building or delivering the furniture or whatever it may be. Target value design is another incredible tool for providing an effective project outcome. In a simple explanation, target value design takes cost and gives it to the designer and the engineer so that when they design, they aren't simply working in a vacuum, but actually have data about what their decisions will end up costing the project. That's a big change for the way most architects have worked traditionally. And while most of us as architects have a rough idea that one material may cost more than another, or that one process, because it's more complicated, will be less cost effective because it takes more labor to install, we don't really have a dollar or euro sense of how much something actually costs to put in place. And it's only once we have that cost information that we can answer the value proposition that has been put forth in the criteria from the owner. Because it'd be nice to provide everything the owner asks for in the way that we want to, but it's very unlikely that those solutions can fit within the project budget. So within that, when the contractor provides cost information, the estimate really should tie into the building information model. And with that, I mean not just that there's a building information model, a BIM model that the contractor can look at, but that you design with components within the model that can be used for detailed takeoffs. If you have 150 chairs, then it should link to the estimate with the cost of 150 chairs, or 200 fire smoke dampers, or 300 square meters of carpet, or whatever it may be. So the idea then is not only for the contractor to be able to pull that information in a logical way, but for the architect and the engineer to use, to design in a way that enables the estimating to take place. In the IPD setting, I would say on my current project in San Francisco, more than half of the drawings are produced by construction detailers. Our mechanical system is being drawn by the detailers who will then fabricate that mechanical system and put that ductwork and plumbing in place within the building itself. Most of those people who are construction detailers are in their 40s or 50s and have, before that, 10 to 15 to 20 years of experience in the field, installing the things that we as designers have drawn. You can imagine they have some opinions about how to better draw things so that they can actually install them. And the thing that enables us to do that's very powerful here is that we can leverage their real world experience to better inform our drawings. We have something, the way that we categorize drawings or the activity of work is something called means and methods that the contractor uses. And for them, it represents not just the way that they put work in place, but the way that they have figured out to do so efficiently. For them, it often represents a competitive advantage. And so we, as a design team, need to learn to use that to help prepare documents that show the means and methods that the contractor will employ to put the work in place. So we'll come into that a little bit more lately, or a little later in the presentation. But that's also a piece of target value design, in that as these changes are made, the detailers are able to provide information back to their office to update the estimate, and that the estimate then is refreshed for the team. And it should occur no less frequently than every 2 weeks, so that we're always working with current cost information and thereby ensuring the value for the owner. So I jumped the gun on this a little bit. The idea of the builder as subject matter expert. You know, I've been practicing architecture for nearly 20 years, and I learned as much as I possibly could about how to frame walls using metal studs. It's something I'm interested in. I've always liked it. I love drawing the details. I spent about an hour with a gentleman named Roger, who had worked in the field for 30 years as a framer. And it was clear to me he had forgotten more about framing than I would ever know. So I think the thing that architects and designers must learn when they're working with these craftspersons from the field is that they have a phenomenal wealth of knowledge about how to put buildings together. This is an example of, this isn't a detail per se that we simply drew. This is actually a live cut of our BIM model. We have, let's see, if you can see my little red dot here, the structural model that came from our steel fabricator, and then we ourselves drew the partitions, but we only drew the gypsum wallboard on the exterior. The trade partner, the framer, went in and on our project is placing every single metal stud, not just in a random manner, but in the way that they intend to build it in the field. And so what we actually did was to give them control of our partitions early on in the design process so that they could move the walls around and substitute different studs and wall thicknesses, etc., and be able to design each of these details in the way that they would build it. Normally, I would draw a column detail, in this case with the rated partition that comes into it, in a generic way, and I would submit that to the reviewing agency so they could permit that particular detail. And it would go, and then it would mean absolutely nothing to the person in the field who was going to build it. They would completely alter the way that it would be put together, and it would pass inspection, but it would have unintended consequences on the layout of the room, for instance. Because with the column, if I design it tight against the column, and then it moves further into the room, then it's going to cause problems with my room layout. So the way to get around that for our team is for the people to be part of the process from the very beginning. So their means and methods are part of the way that we draw and describe the building. With this, in some ways, architects struggle because it's taking away something that we normally do and that we probably thought we were good at doing. As it turns out, we were not. But we still have a very important role of coordinating these trades as they come together to work. And a great way to do these, or do this effort, is to work in a detailing workshop. To take the columns, the skin of the building, areas where a number of trades come together and where you have critical details. You don't want water to penetrate the building. You need a rating to make its way successfully through a floor plan. And to really work together to develop how those pieces will actually be assembled in the field and to successfully meet the design intent. As our British friends would say, mind the gap, where one trade scope ends and another scope begins. Because trade contractors are very good at their own scope, but they're not as good at each other's. And when you have many different trades working in one area, you have to be very, very careful about how all of those pieces will come together. And that's a place where the architect can add more value in the new process by being mindful of that. In this case, we were responsible for drawing these little areas here where we had mineral wool and fire spray. A small thing, but the rating doesn't work without either of those items. This has proven to be the biggest challenge on our project. The distinction between design and detailing was one that I personally did not give enough respect to when we began the project. The detailers work in a very specific way to produce shop drawings to be able to install a particular scope of work. They will detail down to the level of pipe fittings, of conduit fittings, boxes, all kinds of very detailed things that accurately reflect exactly what will be put in place in the field. It's very difficult for design and detailing to occur at the same time. A small move for me, shifting a wall, maybe half a meter to one side, is potentially disastrous for the detailing effort that has gone on in that area, because it may shift the partition so that it now aligns with a beam, or it aligns with a sprinkler main line, or it now runs into a zone valve box or something like that. And so what ends up, one lesson that we learned was that we needed to finish moving around doors and windows and walls before we released work on a particular floor for detailing. I was also of the opinion at one point that if I think of the project as a whole, wouldn't it be more efficient to simply pay the detailers to keep changing their work? And yet, I've come to believe that that's also perhaps not the best way to go. Not because of the money, but because of the impact on them as workers. To draw something and then to have to discard most of it, and then to draw it again and then have to discard a portion of that again, is psychologically very difficult at times. And it's something that, again, is going back to that first slide, an idea that has to do with the way that you treat the people who work in the big room together. Another ingredient for success within an integrated project team and within a big room is the idea of shared business interests. The key word here is transparency. When you work in an IPD team, at least in the ones that I've worked in, everything that you do from a business perspective is transparent to the rest of the team. The number of people that you propose to bring to the project, how much they get paid, how long they're going to work on the project, what activities they're going to do, and with that, kind of higher level measures of how much you will spend each month to accomplish the work through the lifetime of the project. There have been a number of IFOA projects, and IFOA stands for Integrated Form of Agreement, which is a contracting method that's used by my client. There are a number of IFOA projects that started very, very well and went along nearly to the end and then suddenly ran out of money. And nobody saw it coming. No one had any idea that the project was unhealthy when everything seemed to be going so well. So one of the things that is now very important to do is to do what we call financial forecasting, or monthly financial forecasting. The gray graph underneath shows my monthly spend, the dollars that I'll spend each month for my team to be part of the integrated project. Within each of those columns are 3 bars: my original plan, my actual plan, and then my reforecasted plan. It's not enough to simply track how much we have spent. We also have to work each month to understand how much we will spend. It's the same as the planning exercise. It's not enough to make a plan. You have to continue planning and evolving. Within that, we also have a weekly risk and opportunity meeting where we bring issues forward and discuss amongst the financial stakeholders of the team items that we believe are going to cost the project money and opportunities for the project to save money. And those are always at the forefront so that we always know how much impact there potentially is. And the reason for this is that we have been given an incentive that we will receive no profit unless the project comes in at or under budget. And so, since all of us would like to make profit on the project, we all come together and not only are concerned about our profit, but the profit of all of our team members. And it produces a spirit of collaboration and of a level of interest in helping the others around you to succeed, which I think is key to success. Building the right team is a challenge. And I will tell you that, as in any activity, not everyone is as good at being in the big room as others. Some people just don't find that a pleasant or pleasing way to work. With that, I've had some observations that someone who is technically experienced, who in most design firms would be given a position of supervision or management where they direct the work of others, may not be the best person to lead in the big room. Because leading in the big room isn't about knowing everything there is to know. It's about hearing everything and then working together to develop consensus on how to move forward. And someone who's always been very authoritarian about, well, this is what I think and this is what we're going to do, will probably struggle when they have to consider the viewpoints of all these other people who are not just architects, but engineers and detailers, designers from other professions. I would say that someone who is confident in what they say and yet humble enough to throw out an idea and have it rejected and not need their best idea to carry forward, I think that person will do well in the big room. It's okay to have your idea challenged when you're confident, because you don't have to always have your idea chosen. And it's the person who is willing to listen to the best idea for the team and not just their own idea that will perform well in the big room. I would also say that curiosity is incredibly important to have. When you think about it, you're placed in a big room with 20, 25, even 30 different disciplines ranging across the design and construction industry. Projects that use IPD tend to be more complicated. And so because of that, you have a tremendous opportunity as a professional to go and to learn, to ask your neighbor or ask somebody from a discipline that you don't interact with, how do they do their job? What are they interested in? What matters to them on the building? And so someone who is curious will thrive in that environment. They'll wake up every day and they'll be excited to come to work because there's so much to learn. I would also say that a spirit of innovation is very important. Someone who comes to the first solution and says, okay, we're good, we're done. It's probably not the way to approach things. Someone who keeps digging for a little bit more, find a little more value, eliminate a little more waste, and find creative ways of doing it. Try to think like the plumber if you're an architect. Try to think like the steel erector if you hang drywall. That type of person who is willing to be innovative and to try to put themselves into the shoes of others will likely be very successful as well. I would also note that younger professionals tend to do very well in the big room as well. This is Kayla. She works on my team. She's 24 years old, and she came in with about 4 months of experience working at our firm before she started working in the big room. Within a few weeks, it was clear that she needed to be in charge of the exterior team. Not because she had any great knowledge about GFRC, like Michael was describing, glass fiber reinforced panels, concrete panels, or because of some great knowledge of window systems, but because she understood how to bring the group together. We had 6 or 7 different trades in the exterior team working together, and she was the one who was able to quickly understand how to bring the team together and move them forward. Who would have thought, right? And yet within that integrated project environment, within that big room, because it's a very flat organization, someone with almost no experience at all, but with the right skills as a person, was able to be very successful and add great value to the team. So with that, I thank you. I hope, did I spell it right? Is that right? Excellent.
So thank you, Romano. And again, looking around, are there any questions ready? In fact, can I start questioning you?
Yes, please.
On one of the slides at the very top there, the first sentence was that all the partners in the big room, they have to sign the contract, for IPD contract. And when I refer back to Michael's story that all the contracts, they are prepared by the lawyers, but IPD is a field, just a rather new field. Do you think, are the lawyers at home with IPD system and IPD contracts, or does somebody help or advise, well, what is IPD? Because traditionally lawyers, they want to use the traditional tools.
In my experience, there are a small number, fewer than 5, lawyers that I would say have strong expertise in this type of relational contracting in the United States. One of the things that you probably would observe is that there are projects, IPD projects across the country, and 1 or 2 lawyers that have helped author the contracts for them. So I would say that it is a rarefied practice. Although I would ask Michael to comment. He is probably more in tune with this than I am, but that's my sense. Would you agree? I would agree. Okay.
Any more comments rather than you agree?
I think that this is an area where if the lawyers can get the basic form, the basic structure of an IPD contract correct, then the team members' agreements on how to proceed can be done without lawyers involved. And that's a good thing. So a lot of law practices aren't interested in this because it means very little work for them. And again, I think that's a good thing. And the reason I say it's a good thing is not because it's a sort of anti-lawyer joke, but because our legal system is very expensive. And the outcomes, once a project is subject to lawsuits and litigation, are very uncertain. And so for people who are trying to do things in the world, to get a project mixed up in litigation is a kind of disaster because the outcomes are unpredictable and very costly, no matter what you do. So that's why I try to avoid it.
I think you can safely say that once it goes to litigation, literally nobody will win.
Do you want some more questions? Well, I see
I have a more technical question. At the beginning, you mentioned those tools you used to support the collaboration, like ProjectWise and Passo. Just a few hints. What's your opinion on that, and what would you recommend?
I think it depends on the personality of the owner and on the personality of the team. I've done both. I've done a number. I've done a server that was paid for by the team, and then everyone worked out a way to connect to it. I've done ProjectWise, which is centralized, cloud-based document management, although they do have difficulty interfacing with BIM models, so there's still work to be done to get Revit, for instance, to interface properly with ProjectWise. And then I've also used Box, although that was largely for document correspondence, not for the models themselves. And then we also use Newforma, which is basically a database that hosts email that allows you to process change orders and RFIs, etc. I would say that they all have strengths and weaknesses. I would say that I would try something like Box, which you could probably use for free, just in terms of the size of data as a starting point if you haven't tried one before, because ProjectWise costs a lot of money to implement, as do the other solutions. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Romano, for the interesting presentation. I think your presentation actually raised a couple of, I dare to say, fundamental questions. And one of these was the process of validation. And it seemed to be the logical part of the design process and the planning process in general, as in essence, the design and the planning is a prediction about the future in terms of meeting our objectives. So you only mentioned the validation against the cost, but was there some kind of design quality management processes in place for validating against the other design performance criteria?
Mm-hmm. As a contrast to the way that Michael developed a system, he works for a public institution and therefore has more constraints than my clients typically have. What I see them currently doing, though, is of a similar mentality of seeking to develop design criteria before the project even goes to the finance board for approval. And so my project in San Francisco, for instance, we spent, I think, 5 or 6 months with a pretty large integrated team developing a validation study. With that came a schematic estimate, a schematic program, test fits. With the hospital, you do floor plans and vertical sections to show how the departments all work together, and a pro forma provided by the owner to show that they could afford to operate and pay back the bonds that would finance the construction of that particular hospital. So we probably spent, probably $2 million, I think, against what ultimately became a $500 million project to come up with this validation study. And with that also came narratives for all of the building systems, structural, mechanical, security, medical equipment. And all of that information was compiled together, and that schematic estimate was then used to go for funding approval with the owner. So I would say that that type of method of developing sound criteria, developing the budget for it, and then challenging the team to use those criteria to deliver the project, I think is the sound manner in which things will progress in the future.
Very good, thank you. Because I don't want to send maybe a wrong message to the audience, so I'm asking if you agree with me on the aspect that the IPD itself is not the magical pill for all the problems, but it's rather the IPD is for establishing the environment where now the people can start to work together, develop processes first together, and then design better value for the client and end users.
I agree completely. The IPD arrangement is a response to a desire on the part of the owner to create an environment where teams will collaborate successfully, and they will innovate, and they will ultimately deliver the project at lower cost, but with higher value. It is a way of organizing around a large project. It requires some modification for a small project, but the ideas of value and of reducing waste and of collaboration are more personal things that people should learn that will make them successful on any project, whether it's an IPD project or not. And I would say that even more removed from that, any kind of relational contract is never going to successfully force people to behave in a way that they're not willing to behave. It can remove barriers, but people themselves have to accept a willingness to collaborate, a willingness to take on the responsibilities of all and take ownership of that. And a contract isn't going to necessarily tell them to do that. They have to come to that themselves.
So it seems no more questions or no, ega väga pikk küsimus ei ole. Sobib. Nii, lähed jooksma, lähed sinna taha.
Hello, Romano.
Hello.
You said that sometimes you have to update your plan. For example, today is not what was yesterday, for example. And does it mean that the duration of the project is not the same? That you have to prolong the designing, for example, or does it mean that? So how to estimate the correct dates at the first place? So.
You've hit on one of the most challenging things to do. The way that I think of it is that we work very hard at the beginning. Those who have more experience are brought to the table to help define the outlines, the boundaries of the project. And at the very beginning, you would develop a master schedule for the project that has perhaps 10 milestones. And those are educated guesses. And at the same time, there also may be periods where the owner will say, I have to see a patient by this particular day to qualify for this amount of funding from the government. And at that point, you would look at that date, and then everyone would plan in such a way, considering the amount of money that would then become available because of that government grant, and plan the work in such a way as to achieve that particular milestone. So it becomes, it really is a push and pull through the first third and sometimes even the first half of the project. And it can be made more difficult by not knowing what the owner's expectations are. And it's still difficult, even if the owner is very clear about what they want, to plan all the work to fit in with a particular sequence. But what typically does happen is that a milestone will be set, and then the activity is to replan to meet the milestone over and over and over again. And that can be a very difficult thing to do when you're further out from the milestone, because it's hard to know if you are early or late. And there are some software tools that will tell you that, but it comes down to the level of planning that's been put in. What ends up really happening is that over the course of the project, the plan feels very loose, and then it will feel tight, and then something will happen that makes it diverge, and then it will tighten back up, and it just kind of oscillates in that manner. And then as you get closer, there's a point toward the closer to the milestone where it suddenly seems to lock in. And that's when people just, it gets within what they can understand in their head, and then they just hit the ground and run as hard as they can to get it finished. So I don't know if that's a very good answer, but it just seems to be all over the place, and then it works out.
Okay, thank you, Romano. And now really we have no more time for questions. And normally in construction, even in IPD, I think there are overtime allowed. We have some 7-8 minutes already coming into our lunchtime, and you have to consume the food very innovatively, very quickly to be back here at 2 o'clock. Anyhow, let's thank Romano for this.
Thank you.